Hey everyone, and welcome to Whole Latte Love live streams. My name's Zach. I'm joined here by John.
Hello everybody, I'm John.
And today we're going to be going over our new VS6 grinders. Now, these grinders released with a lot of different options on them, including that screen with variable RPM, so you can really adjust and fine-tune different things depending on what burrs you're getting. With this, you can actually get flat or conical burrs, which is kind of unheard of. And there's a whole bunch of different kinds of hardness levels and coatings that you can also get with these burrs. So we're gonna kind of dive into each one of these burrs, what they really mean for flavor profiles, what we would actually recommend, and we're gonna actually put it into a live test of trying this with a new coffee that we have. And we're gonna do some pour-overs today and maybe get into some espresso as well with one of our burrs that we would recommend for those.
I'm very excited. I'm especially excited to see the difference in flavor from one set of burrs to another. And I mean, it's just another reason that I love Varia. As in their name, Varia kind of means variability, meaning you can do a lot of different things with the same device. So that's one of my favorite things about the VS6. If you really want to go the depths with your coffee, and I'm the kind of guy that does, I love things like this where I can change out the burrs and just see what that does. It's a lot of fun. And I think we're gonna also kind of uncover our own favorites based on our own personal tastes. So what do you think, Zach?
Let's go ahead and dive into it. So the first step that you really have to do is, simply kind of take apart your grinder in order to really change out these different burrs, to really utilize those. So the grinder itself comes in a very nice case, which you can actually see right behind us. It's quite bulky. You can actually bring this anywhere. You could bring this on a plane and it'll do totally fine.
Let's open it up.
Use it for different things over time if you need. And I really enjoy this case. We've actually brought it to multiple different kinds of expos, presented a lot of really nice coffees from this grinder, and it all comes in this very nice, carbon fiber topped case. It's very snug inside there. You can even put your spare burrs, anything you might need for your VS6, even a little paper manual right in there. And what it does include are just some tools to help you along with any of those burr changes or quick cleans as well. There's a brush. There's even this fun little stick with a white stick that will help you actually change out your different burrs, which I find it very helpful. No other grinder that I've seen actually comes with something that will actually help. So if you've ever run into that, I enjoy having that. So.
Yeah, same. I'm usually relying on my own tools when it comes to changing burrs. So it's kind of nice that they just give you everything that you're going to need right in the box.
Exactly. So. And with that, it also comes with two other tools. These are going to be necessary for that change out. Now, the burr that already comes stock inside this is just going to be your basic 420 stainless steel, a good hardness factor to that. So it will be longevitous for the stock burr that comes with this. Mm-hmm. We always recommend unplugging first off.
Step one.
And I'm going to bring this grinder right out in front of me here.
Now, Zach, which burrs do you think you want to put in here today?
All right, so we're going to start off with a little comparison. So since this thing can do both conical and flat burrs, we're going to put that right to the test here. So if there's any other burrs that you want to see us install or brew from and compare to, we do have our comments down below. We're looking at this the whole entire time. So if you want to chat in, say hi. Hey Andrew, also we can see your comments right down below. So feel free to leave some comments down in the chat for us, and we'll be there. So.
Yeah, and Andrew, good question. Any word from Varia as to whether they'll start offering a choice of burrs to buy with rather than stock right off the bat? We'll find out for you. I'll let you know.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So the stock burrs I did find is great for both scenarios. So for both pour over and espresso. And I think that's why they did choose those as its stock burr choice.
So yeah, they're kind of an all-purpose burr, right?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So very similar to like the Supernova. So you'll see within our actual interchangeable Supernova, though, it actually gets rid of a pre-mashing teeth, which we'll go through and thoroughly describe a little bit more what that really means. So on top here, we do have kind of like an indicator. So this actually has an arrow on it, so we can actually indicate where that front side is. And it's also going to indicate these little actual, I don't think it's going to be possible to see on the screen, but there's little marks that will actually indicate how many rotations around you are, so you can identify if you're in espresso range or a coarse, pour over, slow brew method range as well.
Cool. That's cool. I see it now. Yep.
John's never seen this before.
No, that's new to me, actually. I'm
cool.
excited. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, as you can see on the camera there, there's 4 increment marks right there, and that's what we kind of utilize. So this is just carefully taken off, lefty-loosey for this part. Very easy to interchange, and just like that, we are already inside of our grinder. So as you can see here, there's just going to be a small little gasket. Again, the stock burrs are currently on this one, so we can actually just quickly take off and see what these look like.
Nice.
All right, so just like that, we're already inside of our grinder. And as you can see, there's no screw marks as well within this. So there's no embedded screws or anything like that. This will give so much more surface area of all of that like cutting action. So in this development area, kind of towards the center of our burrs, we're utilizing all of that area now to cut. And that way we get a little bit more clarity and concise particle distributions within that. Because any little hiccup or with these pre-mashing burrs towards the beginning, that can create a little bit more of a crushing movement, and crushing can actually create a lot of fines within that, because as you crush, little fines can be created from that crushing movement instead of finely chopping your bean across. And then after that, we start getting into more of that development and fine tuning towards that outside ring, which you'll see in each 3 parts of all of these burrs that we'll actually be using today. They will all look completely different. So if you even look at our Supernova here, this beautiful gold here, that doesn't have any sort of pre-mashing, but you do see the lip of these burrs are gigantic, so it can still easily feed in and cut very evenly.
Now, I'm guessing, based on what I'm seeing here, we're going to get a lot of uniformity in particle size, because all the way around, it's pretty much the exact same pattern, right? So I'm guessing is this burr kind of meant for like increased clarity, that kind of thing?
There is an increased clarity. It can also produce a good amount of body and fines too with so much cutting, if you actually utilize this grinder all the way towards its finer settings too. So as you're spacing these closer and closer together, this coating specifically really helps with that feed. It's a slower feed, but as it feeds, it's more consistent within.
Nice.
And it's also really sharp with this coating. This is also a 420 coating, but with that hardness level, it's still utilizing its actual, the steel itself is 420. The coating makes it very slick and keeps that hardness edge.
Okay.
So a little bit different, as you can see, between these two. And it does provide a big difference within flavor.
Yeah.
So, and that's the main thing that we're going to see today.
That's really cool. Now, there is a burr on the inner chamber here, right? That's the one that we need to get off in order to actually change the burrs out, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So all we'll have to do is take our 2 tools here. I'm going to go ahead and grab the shaft here. And with burrs, much like a bicycle pedal or something like that, your lefty is tighty and your righty is loosey. So I'm going to go ahead and move to the left because we do not want this to, right.
See, you
Literally
did it.
just
You
said
already
it to
did
myself.
it.
Yeah. We wouldn't want this burr to slowly be falling off as we're actually moving and grinding. So much like you wouldn't want your pedal to fall off as you're riding your bike.
No, I've been through that. Let's not do that here too. Okay?
No. So after we take off that top nut here, there's just a simple washer here. And just like that, we can now change out our burrs. As simple as that. In fact, we could go even faster than this, but
Sure.
I love to talk. So as you can see, the bottom burr is basically mimicking the top burr.
So no screws built into the bed of the actual cutting teeth.
Exactly. So we're really utilizing all of this surface area. So with these flat ones, the flat ones are going to be 58 millimeters, and we do upgrade to about 63 millimeters of actual cutting surface area on our Conicals as well. Again, they cut a little bit differently. Some of them are performing in a way that do still provide clarity, so it kind of goes unlike what people like to think about Conicals, right?
Oh, sure, yeah.
So traditionally with Conicals, you'd think that all of them just give away to more body, it produces more fines. Well, with Varia, the way they're actually producing these surfaces and these cutting edges, we can still create a very nice clarity. Specifically why we're going to actually try these ones next, these Kilonova ones. So these darker ones, we actually see a very nice clarity, as well as like a medium body with both of our flat and conical, which is why it's a really exciting one to try out. So this increase of hardness levels, I think is going to produce a really nice cup.
And now there is a coating even on that Kilonova flat burr, right? So,
yep.
So that's going to help with some of that slickness and make sure that everything is just getting off of the burrs and into your grinding cup right here, right?
Exactly, and that
Nice.
coating really helps a lot with heat transfer, because any sort of heat transfer is also going to be a huge killer for any of our aroma compounds as well.
Right.
So aroma compounds are, I mean, it makes up for thousands of our tasting notes when we're doing this. More so than our actual tasting notes as well. Our taste compounds are very limited in comparison to our aromatics that we're going to get from this. So we don't want any of that to be lost during this production of grinds.
Yeah, I mean, taste is 95%, some say 98%, just the aroma. So the more of that you can keep intact by not heating up the beans on the way out, the better your coffee is going to taste. So.
All right, and as we can see here, these burrs are going to look very similar to our stock burr setup. So we're going to go ahead and get a good view of this.
Yeah, look at this.
Our amazing producer Will today back there.
Hi, Will.
They're supposed to say hi, not you. Okay. We can be nice to Will. All right, so as you can see here, very similar with the geometry on this approach. So Varia did find this geometry to be the most well-rounded, but the addition of this one now will actually increase the hardness level, because we're looking at a 440 steel instead of this 420 steel, so a different sort of coating on this one. That's going to produce a little bit more of a finer cutting edge, and it actually changes the feed rate as well with this, how smoothly it's cutting as well.
Yeah,
but
they call that DLC a diamond-like carbon coating.
Yeah.
Helps the durability and helps with that heat resistance as well.
Exactly. So we're going to go ahead and do the swap out now. So pretty easy to do. So we'll just take this bottom burr.
And you just do this in the reverse order that you just did, right? That's the idea?
Exactly. And
Nice.
this does have to go into a very specific way onto the shaft here. As you can see, there's kind of like a hex down at the bottom here. So you just have to ensure that it's seating all the way, just like so.
Very
Pretty
nice.
easy to find. After that, we're going to go ahead and throw on our next washer.
It was
Top.
washer.
See if I do this right. You know, lefty tighty.
Righty loosey, yep. The opposite of what we do and everything else. That's one of the big rules with most grinders. Nice.
You don't have to over tighten these whatsoever too when changing these out. It's a very quick, simple process.
Nice.
And making sure that you're not losing any of the springs that you can actually find in any of the corners here as well. So your bag of accessories do come with extra springs and anything you need, like the washers. Does not come with a spare nut or anything like that, so try not to go too nuts. But we're just going to go ahead and throw on that top.
And now we've got one more gasket that goes in there, right?
Exactly. So we'll have this washer right up on top, and this slides right in.
Very cool.
So once we have that on, this easily goes straight on to our grinder.
Nice.
So this is our flat burr done. Now, John will actually show us our conical burr.
Right. Now we've got
It's a little different.
We got the same coating. It's the Kilonova Conical burr set. And, you know, I'm going to be interested in if there's any differences in changing out the burr sets when it's conical compared to the flat. So let's do this together. And let's see what we have in here. This is kind of unboxing the a brand new burr set again here. Of course, you've got nice literature about it as well. And here's how the conical burrs look. Here we go. Number 1 and number 2. Awesome. And of course, this comes with a couple extra tools as well that you may need, spacers, things like that. Does come with that plastic stick just to kind of help you hold things in place if you need to. So Zach, let's check this out. Now, getting started, we're kind of talking about a similar kind of thing, right? You just take your indicator ring off, and then we're just going to loosen this up to the point where I can lift it off, and we're already there. Now, the order that we did this in was the first gasket. Now, this also has those same flat burrs that we just took out of the white grinder.
Those stock burrs, yep.
Yep, stock stainless steel burrs. And then I just need these tools once again to hold on to the shaft with one hand. And then, of course, we want righty-loosey, lefty-tighty. So here we go. Let me see if I can do this. Yep, righty-loosey. All right. Now let's take this off.
You almost messed up. No.
Did you see that? Yeah. All right. And now very easily that flat one comes right off. Now, first thing we're going to do, this is our conical burr that's going to go in the bottom, just like this. Next thing, as usual, you just kind of do it in reverse order. We've got that washer, and then righty, loosey, lefty, tighty. Awesome. Now, this is where that plastic stick is probably going to come in handy here. It's going to be very good to hold on to some of these extra teeth down at the bottom here. If I can remember that it's lefty-loosey, lefty-tighty, righty-loosey. And just like Zach said, you don't really need to go too tight on here. Just nice and snug and secure. And that ought to do it. All right. And then just as you would expect, we want to go just like this on the very top. What do you think? Did I do this right, Zach?
Nope.
You bet. You bet I did not. There we go. That's more what I want to see.
There we go.
Okay. I was going to say, I've done this before. All right. Our gasket goes right in, and then our
finishing top.
That's right, our adjustment top goes right on, and you just screw it right back in.
So we do have a question too from Andrew of basically how many full rotations we're getting between switching from filter and espresso.
Oh, that's a good question, yeah.
So I would say it's one full rotation typically. Since we are keeping track of the notches, I usually find that first notch area, kind of your espresso range as you're kind of like bottoming out. Depending on which actual burr you're using, and if you're using spacers or anything, that'll also determine your espresso range. So that can be shortened or extended. There are some burrs that we typically recommend for espresso in comparison, some that we would recommend towards pour-overs. And then when it comes to our pour-over range, one full rotation over into those like 2-dot zones, usually between 0 and 4, is usually when we start getting into that particle size of around 800 microns to 1200 microns. We do actually have a particle analyzer that we can test some ranges too. So if any of you are interested in certain range areas, we can definitely calculate some ranges today too.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm ready for some caffeine. You wanna see if we can dial in and make some pour-overs together?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do it. So
cool.
Let's go ahead and find our initial spot. So how many microns would we like to do for this initial pour-over?
Oh, I was thinking that we could probably be around somewhere between 800 and 1,000 is going to be pretty satisfactory for me.
Gotcha. So I'm just going to go ahead and do a test right about where we think. So Varia does recommend with Conical to actually use lower RPMs and with flat to use higher RPMs. For the sake of this test, we're actually going to be using right around 1200 RPMs, so something very similar, just so we can kind of see how that compares too. Now, if we want to change some things up and try it at different amounts of RPMs, then that can change also the clarity and consistency to that. I usually recommend those higher RPMs with that flat when it comes to espresso too. You'll get some really nice consistent results with that, mainly due to the production of fines that are kind of increasing, giving that additional restriction.
A little extra restriction so you're not just flying out, so you can actually make a really nice espresso. Yeah.
Exactly.
Nice. All right. I'll tell you what, we do have some coffee here. This is a nice yellow bourbon from Brazil, from Carmo actually.
Yeah.
And why don't we just do a couple of beans through?
Yep, and we'll do a little bit of an analysis first on this flat burr. So let's go ahead and guess here. So I'm gonna go ahead and stick with that 2 dot here. And on this 2 dot, I'll probably go around to like a 9 or so. So again, this is a complete guess. This is kind of how I would approach, first starting off with a lot of these pour-overs and just like identifying what particle size we're at. We'll do a feel, and then we'll also analyze here too. All right, so right here on the side of our grinder is just a simple on-off switch. As you can see, the screen then turns on, and we can then adjust our variable RPM. So again, we're gonna go with some consistency at this 1200 RPM. I feel like that's pretty practical and normal out there within the grinding world of things. So it does come with an RDT tool, so a Ross droplet technique. It is winter right now, so everything's pretty dry, so I might utilize just a little bit.
Yeah, just to get rid of some of that static electricity. It's we're in Rochester, New York. It's very cold up here right now, so we're getting a little extra static electricity. So that Ross droplet technique can really help kind of mitigate some of that, and also kind of get the rest of the coffee out to make sure that you don't have any retention.
Exactly. So as you can hear, if you can even hear, I know, awesome, right?
Yeah.
It is a very quiet grinder. So I'm just going to drop that in as a hot start. Just get enough so I can actually test here. And on that side button.
Now let's do it visually first. Let's just kind of see if it looks like something we'd want to make a pour over with.
So I'm just going to go ahead and pour this out onto my table here. And visually, it looks like I'm getting quite a lot of boulders actually here. So when I'm seeing a lot of these boulders, this can be really nice for a lot of floral cups, I would say. So I'm assuming right now we might be surpassing a lot of the 1000 micron ranges.
Sure.
Those might be even like 1200 microns in range there. I might have to actually scoop up with my hand here to even test this right now. And I just need a little bit of a sample size just to get an idea of these boulders here. Now, these particle tests are very nice for anything in this pour-over range. It's going to be very consistent. As soon as we get to espresso, I've perfected my ways of being able to actually test those particles, but they do become quite difficult. All right, so I'm just testing here. Just going to shake our bed, give us an idea of where we're at. So we're super coarse right now. So we're at 1400 microns. A little more important this way. And as we can see here, our standard deviation, is a little too high. So with this adjustment, I'm gonna do, let's say, a full rotation.
And that's one of the things that I do like about this grinder is you have a lot of area in between each kind of main setting. So that was very coarse. To get into our pour-over range, we got a lot of room in between that kind of coarse range and the pour-over range. So you can really dial in very, very specifically. I'm
gonna make a pretty large adjustment here. So since I started right around that like 9.0 range, I'm gonna go all the way to 3 on this now. There we go. Now we're at 3. I'm going to go all the way to 3 and see how much that actually changes our particle size.
Cool. Let me get you some coffee, sir.
That would be fantastic.
Let me steal one of them cups.
Maybe.
And we'll get you
We'll see.
just some of this nice Brazil. There we go.
So, in general, what flavor notes should we be looking for on this Brazil when we start testing?
In general, Brazilian coffees are known to have a lot of nuttiness, a lot of chocolate notes, things like that. Just a lot of like right in the middle, very smooth, crushable, drinkable flavors. A lot of Brazilian coffees can be used in blends like that. They're very malleable to, add in another coffee to boost up acidity and things like that. So that's what I would expect out of this Brazil. This is a very nice yellow bourbon, so we might get a little more complexity than just like chocolate notes and nutty notes and things like that. So I'm pretty excited to see what we got here.
So really quick, Chris Bailey also asked, every line is actually advertised as 5 microns. We can test that. This test result might not show that level of consistency. It might actually still average things out. For that, we would actually need a little bit of a different kind of particle analyzer. But in general, we can make broad assumptions. So what we did here was go from 9 to 3. We can definitely do some math too afterwards here.
Even visually, I'm seeing that we have a really nice fine bed here, and I'm wondering what you think just visually, Zach, if we're close.
Ooh.
Or.
So we went pretty fine on this, I would say. So I think that personally, that looks like around 550 microns to me. I'm just gonna throw.
That's a pretty specific.
I'm gonna throw a number out.
It looks like 549 to me.
Yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and test it.
I'm interested to see how close you are just by looking at it.
Okay,
wow,
so
not bad,
514.
Zach. Yeah.
So not too bad.
All right, so our main spike is where around?
Around 540.
Okay,
and yeah. I mean, I had 24% correct.
There you go. Nice. All right.
Not too bad. I know my particles pretty well.
You know your particles pretty well. So
we need to go somewhere in between.
Yeah, what would you do from here? So we were at 9, we went to 3.
I need to go somewhere in between now. So I would probably go more so towards this like 6 area, I would say.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that should now let us sit right around that 800. So
let's give it a shot. Let's see what we get. There we go. Don't mind me, just spilling the beans.
Always.
Always, right?
Oh, the dad jokes. You can vote down the dad jokes down below in the comments too, just so you know.
Oh, you'd be surprised.
I know everyone's gonna like it instead. All right, so again, I'm gonna do a hot start here. Oh, definitely need something underneath, especially with this beautiful white here.
There we go.
All right.
Let's see what we got.
All right, so this is looking more so correct to me. I think that looks like a beautiful grind size for a pour over. Again, this is a complete guess. We actually did not test this beforehand. We kind of know where our stock burrs are at, but with this new burr, we actually haven't done too much testing on this Kilonova yet, so we were really excited to bring this over to you live.
Oh yeah, that's why I was excited to do this with you today. Let's do some testing live.
And you're never excited to be with me. No.
Never. Yeah, that's a fact.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do a little test here. Try not to get any chaff in there as much as possible. And we'll do another test here. All right.
Nice.
Perfect. So, we're in the 6s now, mid-6, I would say.
I'd even be comfortable coarsening it up by like another full number or so.
Yeah, so I'm going to go about to the 7.
Cool.
And then I think we're gonna sit clever right there.
I think I'm pretty comfortable with that. Yeah.
7's probably gonna get us to around that 700 micron range, which is also pretty nice.
Yep.
That it's lining up that way with us. So let's go ahead and get you dialed in.
Yeah.
now.
Let's part. You want to give me a little coffee?
Oh, we're switching. Okay, yeah, we can switch.
You get to be my my Vanna White for now.
All right.
Yeah. All right.
Oh no, you need this. Sorry. Still give it both to you.
Now let's see. I'm gonna get my black VS6 over here. Right at that 1200. Oh, I'm right at that 1200 right now. That's perfect. All right. Let me make sure I get anything out of here that might be in there.
We'll do the 1200, and then we'll do a hot start still, test that particle size, and as soon as we're right around that 700, we're going to go ahead and do that pour over. Again, we're going to compare, even if it is averaging out to the same particle size, what the real difference in taste will actually be between this conical and flat. Again, there's going to be some inconsistencies while we do so, because John and I pour a little bit differently.
It's true.
We'll try to pour as similar as possible in a 5-step approach.
All right, so I started this on 9, and let's see what that ends up looking like. Let's do the same thing. We'll do visual first, just to kind of see if we're like anywhere near the ballpark. And let's check it out. Not too bad right off the bat, I don't think.
Yeah, off the bat, if I actually bring over some from over here, we're looking pretty similar there.
Yeah, it might be a little finer than yours, but also, I mean, we got to remember we're dealing with 2 different burr sets here, so could be anything. Let's rely on our particle analyzer here.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right.
Whoop, I'm flipped around. I don't know where I am. Okay, there we go. Now I know where I am.
Where are you, Zach?
I never know.
So I wouldn't be surprised if we're pretty close, and we might even only need to do 1 with this.
That's
not bad.
That's not bad at all.
Pretty close to that 800 that I was talking about.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll coarsen it up just a bit, and maybe we'll just do one more test just to make sure. I might even do let's go 0.5 right there.
All right, so you did a 0.5 increment change?
You know what, I did 1.5. So the number that I'm reading right now is about 0.5, right on there. In fact, there we go. Now we're talking. Perfect. All right, let's do 1 more, and then we'll start actually drinking some coffee and having some fun here.
Yep, let's do it.
I mean, I'm having fun right now, but I like this stuff anyway.
You don't have to lie to me, John. It's okay.
Not on purpose.
And if there's any testing too, while we have all this equipment, we do have a TDS reader behind us too to do all of that. So if there's anything you want to see specifically these VS6s do, let us know, because we have plenty of stuff to play around with today, with a good amount of time left as well.
All right, let's have a look. Let's see if I overshot. And we could probably dial in for 2 straight hours, but we'll get it close enough, and then we'll start comparing the tastes and everything. Here we go. At least you and I could dial in for 2 straight hours. We love this stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. All right, so
looking pretty good. I don't see anything nasty in there.
Immediately, what you can see too are the fines productions between these. You can see that there are quite. You might not be able to see it on camera, but if I was actually to take my finger, what is attached to my finger still are those fines that'll actually increase a lot of that body as well. That Conicals still naturally produce, even though this is giving a pretty average, consistent grind size, it's still going to produce a little bit of those fines from that crushing action that these naturally produce. Where the separation of this, there's not too much sticking to my finger afterwards. So I do think the clarity and overall extraction will be decreased with this flat.
Okay, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a little extra body out of this conical.
Yep.
Compared to maybe a little more clarity out of the flat.
Yeah, and you might ask, like, which one's right for me? Well, depends on the coffee and what you like. Do you like a little bit of a muddier body that you can actually produce from something like a Conical, or do you like something a little more on the clarity side? We typically recommend this one, and this flat one, specifically for light roasts. Just the clarity that you can get from those light roast sort of flavor profiles.
Yeah, you know, one of our teammates actually just discovered, she's been doing coffee for a long time, she just discovered that she's a Conical burr fan. So, you know, that's kind of, to me, part of the whole coffee journey, just finding which equipment's best for you, gives you the flavors that you like. I saw that that one was around 600 or so.
So as you can see here, my assumption's correct. I'm getting a lot of fines here that are really kind of throwing off a lot of this data.
Yeah.
You can see in general, a lot of this is actually between 600 and 800. So we're very similar to before, but we are getting a lot of fines within here. So I'm just testing quickly again. I'm gonna actually wipe this off with a good cloth.
Yeah, there you go. And you know what we might end up with is kind of what Conical burrs give you in the first place anyway, which was kind of a range of flavors because of the increase in fines.
Yep.
So, and that's also, you know, contributes to the higher body that we're talking about anyway.
Yeah, so we are getting a lot of fines, and that's what it's really reading, but we see the majority of it is right up in our range. So we're gonna go ahead and continue forward with the pour over at this point.
I was gonna say,
right around the same range. You just produce a little more fines. That's okay.
Well, that's the entire idea. Let's see what a little more fines does to the flavor profile of the coffee. I'm gonna want to try yours, and you're gonna want to try mine as well.
I don't want to try yours. I just want mine.
I've got some pour over vessels back here for us.
Perfect.
All right.
All right, so we're just using some Tornadoes from Brewista today. These are the St. Anthony's as well for the vessels down below.
Nice.
So we will need to measure out first 20 grams of coffee. So we're gonna do a 1:17 ratio at 20 grams. And we're gonna utilize the AccuPro scale too alongside this to kind of making sure that our ratios are correct as we're pouring.
Yeah, there's a very fun method on here, feature on these Varia Pro scales called Varia Flow. And in real time, it's actually going to show you your brew ratio. So we're out here talking about 1:17. What that means is I don't have to bust out my phone, get out my calculator, and punch in 20 grams times 17. Instead, I'm just going to look at my actual brew ratio that it's giving me. So the first thing
close.
Yeah, you're close. The first thing it's going to ask you to do is we're going to measure out. We're actually going to tare the vessel. So the first thing, let's just preheat our vessels. Maybe we can do this together, Zach.
Sure.
Let's do a little bit of this.
At the same time.
Yeah. And then we're going to put the vessel right on the scale. We're going to tare it. Then it's going to ask what our coffee dose is. And we're going to answer that question too. It kind of takes you through each individual step. It's a lot of fun. All right. Vessel. Let me get rid of this.
All right, one other question that we have. Can you go lower than 500 RPMs? Comparison to...
I believe 500 is the floor on these grinders, yeah.
Yeah, so as we decrease this, 500 is the bottom. Now, so you can't go... Yeah, you're limited by the grinder, not by if it's a flat or a conical for that question there.
Yep.
But,
yeah, good question.
Either way you can. The lower the RPM, that really kind of controls a lot of that feed, so you can find yourself with a little bit more of a consistent grind size. So as for this conical one, if I was to want to decrease the amount of fines that we were finding within here, I can actually take that RPM, decrease that, and we should produce less fines. That's something that we can actually test next too.
I had one bean left in there.
Oh dear.
Oops, here we go. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and grind on my Conical burrs here. And these are, again, the Kilonova Conical burrs. There you go, sir. And my AccuPro scale is right now asking me what's my coffee dose. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put that dose on the scale.
And I didn't weigh out my my coffee.
Oh, enjoy yourself.
How'd you let me forget?
Oh, you know, I was just kind of looking out for number 1 over here.
Yeah.
I
Makes
apologize,
sense.
Zach. That wasn't very nice of me.
dare
However, check this out. All that you need to do is put in your ground coffee dose. There we go. Let me see if I can get just a bit more here. Yeah, there was one more bean in there I got to get out. Awesome. And we'll get this right up to that 20. Awesome. I'm pretty comfortable with that right there. All right. And then Zach's measuring his 20 grams out as well.
All right, yep.
And you're going to be grinding on your flat burr grinder, right?
Yeah, so I'm tricking the system here.
There we go. I just
already
confirmed my
my
dose. Nice.
Ooh, at the same time.
You know what? Just to let you know, the timer starts once you confirm your dose.
Oh, wow.
It's all right.
Whoops.
It's all good.
That's okay. I just restarted, and it actually saves the amount of coffee that you want to use for next time. So I'm still ready. I just wanted to fake the system a little bit differently. Can I use your
Oh,
white?
yes, sir. Yeah. For you.
Even though the white vessel looks really cool on your black
I
VS6.
think it does. Yeah.
All right, so I did make a couple little increment changes, just trying to stay as similar as possible to yours.
Sure.
So I did go a little bit coarser.
Okay.
And then I need to bring myself back to 1200 here. Simple as that. Press the button and go.
Nice. Now, Zach, do you like to, this is kind of a question that I get sometimes, do you like to use the bellows while it's grinding?
I do.
Cool.
You know, there's actually no rhyme or reason why I do,
Sure.
but I do.
I mean, it theoretically gets the same result. We're just kind of helping push the beans through.
Exactly.
Okay, nice.
All right, so do we want to do a conical bed or do you want to do a flat bed? We have to be the same.
You know, I'm going with a flat bed. I typically do that anyway. If you want to do kind of that conical bed where there's like a little divot in the middle, I'd be happy to.
Yeah, let's do a little divot.
All right, cool. Here we go.
All right. So we can fully saturate at the same time.
Nice. All right, love it. All right, I've got mine. This is always fun. I've got mine faced the other way towards you so that when Will puts the overhead camera on, you can all kind of see what I'm working with here. So I'm going to try my best watching my weight and everything while I'm pouring, but I'm also going to follow your lead, Zach.
All right, let's go ahead and go.
Let's do it. Are you doing a double bloom?
I'm just going to 60 and stopping.
Cool, okay.
And then at that 30 seconds, we'll do another 70 grams.
Great.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
until we get to that 1 to 17.
Awesome. Yeah, and at that point, we can just kind of focus on the brew ratio, which I really like, instead of focusing on like a total weight.
In fact, let's keep doing 60 grams because math.
Because math.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, let's keep doing 60
You
grams.
testing me? So we're doing 70 from here. Or no,
No, 60.
60 for every pour. All right.
Yep, so we're going to 120.
Awesome.
The last one will fix our ratio. This is what Brewers champions do. You know. We bicker.
Do they read it upside down too?
Yeah, we read it upside down also. All right, then at this minute point, we're going to do another 60 grams.
He's testing my math.
Very basic pour over. Let's do some agitation on this one.
Cool. Now I'm at 1 to 9.1.
Oh dear.
And we're pretty close, yeah. 1 to 9.2, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we're okay.
All right.
So I'm going to do a straight pour on this one because I need some agitation.
Okay.
I'm messing you up here, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, you bet.
Okay, I waited for you.
I think my water stopped. You know what? If you do agitation on these, it'll change your whole game.
Oh yeah, it
Yep.
does
So,
entirely. All right. Any other questions out there?
Oh yeah. Definitely interesting to find out if an espresso grinder can do a filter grind. Yeah. The answer to me is yes. And I think you're just going to get a little bit of variation in the actual grind consistency. You can absolutely, however, get a very consistent espresso grind with a kind of an all-purpose grinder that can get fine enough for espresso. So that's always fun to give that a try as well. So this VS6 can as well, happily that it can. So.
And as for the dye fluid Omni, we don't have plans of selling it whatsoever. It's just instruments that we use for testing behind our grinders that we receive. So, all right. We actually have a couple different kinds of brands and instruments. So we usually compare like Latte's instruments versus dye fluids. So everything's pretty well rounded on the amount of information that we actually gather. So I'm already at my 1:17 ratio. I don't know if you made it.
You know, I think my agitation
failed.
Got me stuck at 1 to 9.1.
So I am having a pretty nice drawdown. It did take a little bit of time now that I'm surpassing the 3-minute point. Where yours, I think you had to hold back a little bit because those fines were definitely kind of clogging.
Yeah, you know, I was actually looking at our coffee beds as we were pouring. Even just visually, they looked significantly different.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what I expect anyway.
Definitely.
But, you know, it's going to be a classic case of the proof is in the pudding.
Yep.
You know, I'm looking at our volume here. It looks like we're pretty similar, so I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, so as we approach the 4-minute point, we can go ahead and just pull, see what we got here, and compare some tasting notes between this conical and flat on the VS6
yes,
here.
the part I've been looking forward to. Let's go. Now, you know what? I think I might want to let these cool a little bit. Maybe in the meantime, we can change out the one of these burrs for the gold-plated flat burrs.
Yes, because those I do really enjoy for a nice espresso.
Yep.
As this cools, we'll set this to the side here.
And espresso is what's coming up next as well. We've got our ECM Mechanica Max right here, warmed up, ready to go, and I'm very excited to see these are actually the Supernova flat burrs that we're going to be putting into one of these grinders, and we're going to make some espressos too.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and unplug this really fast.
Cool.
And start this change out process. Again, we could use this same exact burr for our espresso right now. So these are all very capable in doing so, but I'm really trying to like uniquely change our espresso so it's a little bit more fine-tuned towards what coffee we're using. So if I want something very nice and clear and clarity and florals, I would have stuck with this burr that we have on right now. Now, if I want to actually increase and go into more of my body, I would use maybe the conical version of it or change out to this new burr that we're about to use.
And you know, if we have time, maybe we'll do a shot on the on those Supernova gold burrs, and then try another one on these conical burrs as well.
Totally.
Yeah, let's just have some fun.
All right. We don't have that much time, John, but we'll see what we can do. So
if we have time.
All right. So Crema Wave, one with stock flats.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, Crema Wave is amazing with the stock flats too. That one's
Andrew,
a great go-to.
Yeah, and Andrew, the Crema Wave, I find around like 25 seconds is kind of one of the sweet spots with that particular coffee, which you can find. Anyone that doesn't know what Crema Wave is, we sell that on our website. It's probably one of our best-selling coffees, great for espresso, right in the middle of the road as far as flavor profile.
And if you want to know right where the VS6 sits with that Crema Wave too, I actually did those profiles live on our press sensor video. If you want to look at those specific spots that we were actually using for that Crema Wave, I actually have it plotted out within a graph, and I had my whole head set up with my Apple Vision on, just fine-tuning that espresso specifically for the Crema Wave and this grinder. So
you were having fun that day.
Oh yeah, definitely. Living in the virtual world. All right, so with this, I'm gonna go ahead and change out this burr here.
Sure, hey, I have some tools for you, sir.
Wow. Why, thank you.
Just hoarding the tools from you.
Okay.
And you know, while you're doing that, I'm going to actually pour some of my pour over with the Conical burrs. Let's see
Okay.
what we get.
Now this is the most important part. Now, when you're questioning yourself, what burrs should I get? Do I just go with the ones that look the prettiest? I mean, you totally can do that. I think it's possible to get good tasting coffee out of kind of anything here.
Same.
But I think you really just have to follow taste. We'll do more of these specific taste profiles, or if you have any questions too on what these burrs really do in comparison to others, and I drink this kind of coffee, feel free to call us too. We're always happy to help out when trying to identify what burr to get for the kind of coffee that you like. So.
Yeah. And, you know, Zach, I'm kind of in the same boat. I think that you can manipulate things like temperature or brew ratio, dose, even just grind size, things like that, given pretty much any burr that you're working with. So, you know, and that's kind of my way of taking an item and bringing it all the way to its to the maximum of what it's capable of doing. And then I start moving on from there. You know, okay, I've tried everything with this burr set. Maybe I'll move on to another one.
Exactly. So, just like that, we're ready to go for espresso. Ready to go for us? Wow. It's the dad jokes turning into John, slowly but surely.
Dad jokes come for us all. Sorry, Zach.
Yeah, that's true.
So now this, we want to start it off a little bit, quite a bit finer, right?
Correct. So I might actually feel out my grind size almost towards that area where my burrs are almost starting to touch. Maybe back off a couple numbers from there, and we can see how it pulls from there.
Cool. Sounds good to me. And I'll tell you what, why don't I make sure that we are in good shape here?
All right, so the machine that we're actually going to be using for this is the ECM Mechanica Max. So it is a heat exchanger machine, changing it up for once, kind of on our live streams. A lot of the times we do use our dual boiler machines, but this Mechanica Max is amazing. It's very, very consistent, so we should be able to get some consistent results.
Now we've got the pre-infusion set up on there, so we are able to go a little finer if you think we need to. And I do have some of this pour over of this Brazil from Carmo, if you want to give it a shot.
I don't want yours. No.
No? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Suit yourself, pal.
All right. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers, y'all.
Definitely well-rounded.
Yeah.
So when thinking of this specific burr and this specific coating and hardness, I'm automatically going into it's like, okay, is it going to be too clear? Is it going to be almost under-extracted? I feel like the initial taste of this definitely gets into the body. It didn't get under-extracted whatsoever.
No, I'm really enjoying this. I don't know if you're swishing it around, getting some of the floral notes in there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. And I mean, especially for a Brazilian coffee to get that complex and get some of those floral notes. I'll clean you out, and then we'll try some of yours too.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and grab that.
Sure.
I'll pour you a cup.
Oh, shoot. Thanks, Zach.
You're so welcome.
Dang.
All right, so switching up cups here.
Oh, that's a good idea.
We're okay.
All right. And then we'll pull a shot.
So
We'll caffeinate more.
already I can see a pretty far
Look at this.
an increase in that clarity. Again,
Just
what we
in
would
color
expect,
alone, yeah.
what we would expect from that clean cutting, already coming through as in that decrease in extraction as well. Again, there's ways to bypass that a little bit, specifically within different brewing techniques or temperatures. But a huge increase in that clarity overall.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, just in the color and the way it looks alone.
and definitely on that clear side. It comes through in a nice, very floral. I think it goes straight to the floral. There's little body to it, but sometimes that's nice. It comes through a little bit more tea-like in that way, but extremely different, I would say.
Oh, yeah.
So, extremely different. In
Yeah,
fact,
this is like bypassing the body and going right to some of the sweet stuff and more delicate stuff.
Exactly. So as these cool a little bit more, we can even take a little TDS to see the comparison. I would guess this TDS is somewhere around 0.5. Yours might actually be a little bit closer to that 1.
Right.
Or so.
Just from taste, I would agree. And I'll tell you what, why don't I dose us out a espresso while you do that?
Let's do it.
Nice.
All right, so go ahead and I think it might be at a correct setting. Again, we're going to increase our RPMs a little bit so we can increase the amount of fines as much as possible, especially how we utilize the flat burrs for espresso. That's how we're going to kind of utilize this.
Now I've got this at 1600, which is the very top.
Yep, and that's our touch point. So we're going to back off a little bit from our touch point. Let's go ahead and give a feel of what that is.
Cool.
In kind of like in our hand, we're kind of going, in between that salt and
there it is.
Sand sort of texture. That's where we always like to start. Not everyone has a particle analyzer, so we can double check these things. But we're going to go based off of feel first.
When I'm making coffee at home, I don't have a particle analyzer. I kind of do it just by look at first, and then I take it from there. So
I'm sorry, John, you don't have a particle analyzer at home?
What kind of a coffee dude are you?
I don't know. Insane. In fact, I have 2 particle analyzers.
There's no way. There's no way.
I'm really going to blow your mind here.
All right.
All right, so
while you do that, this is kind of what I'm working with.
I typically like to let these coffees cool down quite a bit, just because this is kind of measuring how excited these particles are,
Sure, yeah.
In a way, to summarize this. And those particles are a little bit more excited when they are very hot, but we'll see in comparison just what they're doing right now.
Now, I think I'm going to go, by the way, a little finer, just by kind of looking at our particles right here. Let me pick this up and check it out. Yeah, we're going to go a little finer on there. And I'm thinking the dose that we're going to use is probably going to be a 20-gram shot. What do we got here?
You have I think this is wrong. You do not have a 2.7.
It was stronger. It wasn't that much stronger.
Yeah, it wasn't that much stronger. We're going to go ahead and clean off our test area.
Sure.
I think there was a little mistake there. Mine is exactly where I thought it was going to be. I was guessing that it was going to be 0.5.
You said 0.5, yeah.
It's at 0.6. So not far off. It's still that very tea-like coffee. Again, it's not horrible. Again, we're doing everything according to taste.
Really enjoying that pour over on that Conical burr. I'm getting just this huge range of flavors, so that made me really happy.
All right.
Let's bring it pretty close. That's the touch point. I'm going to keep it right at 1. Just 1 click past the touch point.
All right, that's what I guessed. 1.7.
Yeah.
So your
that's
extraction,
pretty much right. What? Yeah.
Yeah, that your extraction was amazing. That's right where I would really want to be with yours. So for this particular instance, with mine, I would have to go a little bit finer or increase my RPM so I can kind of somewhat match yours.
Sure,
if that's something that you like.
Sure.
So
yeah, go a little higher on the RPMs to increase fines. To just increase extraction as well. Yeah, maybe that would beef up the body a little bit as well, I bet.
Yeah, so we just got another comment. Just snagged one of these VS6s this morning. Congratulations, Bryce. They're freaking awesome. Might be late, but are you guys going to be testing one of these espressos with Conical burrs in espresso? We definitely can. We do have the the Conical burr set up on our VS6 right over here. So after we do this,
I'll tell you what. We got about 2 minutes, so we'll see.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
But in theory, yes, it works out really well. I find that both with the Supernova and most of these Conical burrs, amazing job with espresso.
Oh yeah.
Because of this fines production. As you can see, you see that immediate increase in that TDS. Those are the amount of fines. Fines also produce a lot more restriction, so it's going to give you a little bit more ability within your espresso range. So if you're looking at a lot of those dark roasts or anything like that, or medium roast specifically, Conicals usually, provide that nice chocolatey, nutty sort of flavor profile. Or if you want a little more extraction out of a lot of different kinds of light roasts, that can also increase that body there. Now, if you're looking for more clarity, is when I start suggesting something very different like the Supernova, where you're going to have a lot of consistency, but it's also producing a lot of fines at the same time.
There we go. All right, I've got Got what I think is a espresso grind here, and we're gonna find out how it pulls. And I did overdose just a bit, just because I want to see exactly what we're working with here.
Okay.
Let's check it out.
Let me wipe this off.
Oh, thanks, sir.
As we're running out of time. And again, if you have any more questions too, I know we were pretty busy today, so it was hard to get a lot to the comments today.
I mean, look at all this. We did a lot, yeah.
Feel free to call us anytime if you have any more questions about this. We're happy to help, especially when it comes to talking about burrs. There's a lot to it. So
absolutely, yeah.
All right, there's that.
Here we go. Thank you, sir. Let's do a 20-gram espresso here. And I overdosed a bit. I did 22 because I just wanted to make sure we have enough.
And 20? 20? 20. Maybe.
I'm comfortable with 20 on that, yeah. Let's go with it.
All right.
There we go. All right. Let's do it.
All right. So try not to choke on a pour over.
Pretty much, yeah.
All right. Quick little flip, quick little hat.
Awesome.
And as you can see, right away our distribution is pretty nice. Will's gonna get in here. And
nice.
I'm just gonna do a little bit of a break apart.
Not too much. It was already looking. Yeah, it was already looking pretty nice.
Just gonna go ahead and use this Bose tamper.
Love that.
So where everything's nice and consistent.
I love you can do that just holding it in your hand. You don't have to.
The only aerial tamp that I will ever recommend.
That's incredible to me.
All right, and we're gonna go ahead and make our way over to our machine now with a quick little flush here. Will's gonna get that right on camera here. And let's see if we can get a little extraction going.
Cool. I've got some nice espresso cups ready for us to go, and I'm looking forward to this. Now, we didn't really have time to dial all the way in with espresso. This is a pretty darn fine grind, which I'm pretty happy to see that the VS6 can do that. You know, this is one of those things where I'm going to drink whatever comes out.
And we should all be doing that anyways.
Yep.
Drink everything, try everything. That's how you figure out if you like it.
What do we like to say? For science.
For science.
For science. Now the pre-infusion is on, so we're just gonna go through that phase real quick. And then it rests a little bit, so we bloomed the coffee a little. And I think I want to do a 1-to-3 ratio, kind of like the barista competitions.
All right, so it was a very fast shot. Again, we're gonna try everything though.
Yeah. So you know, I might want to try one with the Conical burrs, get a little more fines in there. And that'll kind of show us what can we do with some more restriction, with increased fines, things like that. We did use the that was the Supernova flat burr set for this one. So a lot of particle consistency, not quite as many fines. Yeah. And yeah,
you know,
Andrew,
it's funny, with that pre-infusion, it's really nice. So we saw like a 15-second shot time there, but with pre-infusion, it pushes us towards 20 seconds. This is why I say don't pay too much attention to that time. It's more about the consistency of that extraction and the flavor profiles, what you like out of it. This one, I like the florals. I like the fruit that is coming from this.
I haven't had a sip yet. I'm waiting for it to.
It's not that hot.
No, I was going to say I'm a little bit of a.
The cup keeps it hot.
I'm a little bit of a baby.
Yeah, we don't need no time limits. I agree, John.
No stinking time limits. That's right. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. The clarity from this is actually fantastic.
You know, my theory here is that it was so fine to begin with that all that surface area is exposed. It didn't need all the time to just get inside of every single particle. It just kind of washed all the flavor right off of those super fine grinds.
Yeah, and remember that when you have more of a consistent grind, due to those sharper edges and everything like that, those consistent particles are not going to produce as much restriction because there's not as much variability or fines associated to that too. So you might have a really clear flavor, but you actually might have to decrease your overall concentration of fines. So you might have to go finer and finer than what you even think that you need to do because it's more consistent.
Oh, interesting.
So where with Conical, we might be okay at that grind size, and we'll have a completely different time associated to that at that same grind size, where we're going to have like a stopping point. We're going to choke out our machine, basically, if we were to actually decrease it to something like what we have over here.
Sure, yeah. You know, and I mean, I would not recommend this kind of extraction for someone that wants quite a bit of extra body in their espresso. You know, this is very much meant for clarity in your coffee, this burr set that we use.
Really understanding your coffee too.
Right.
We'll change this, and this is a great profile at a higher temperature. So this lighter roast really kind of likes those compounds that are more available at that high temperature and this sort of extraction. So just another way that you can really utilize these burrs to really experiment. But thank you all so much for joining us today, sipping on some coffee. Again, there's so much more to really explore with these VS6s. We only touched the surface of what these grinders can really do. And in fact, we did some very experimental sort of extractions here. In fact, we can go even further off of that. And if you have any interest, please let us know. Give us a call. And give us some feedback and love in the comments. But with that, I think we'll have to call it a day. My name is Zach.
I'm John.
And thanks for joining us.
Hey, cheers, y'all.
Cheers.